had them in my arms, and my purse. Had my purse.
We're going to call to order this meeting of the Miami Special Utility Authority of Tuesday, December 3rd at 6 p.m. Second item on the agenda is invocation by Pastor Northwest Baptist Church, Fulton Amanette. Thank you for being here, Pastor.
Let us pray. Most High God, we thank you for all the blessings you bestow upon each of us. Thank you for our city, and what an honor and privilege it is to live in such a wonderful community. And thank you for our leaders, for the city council. Give them wisdom, and Lord, just guide them and direct them in all of their thoughts and ways. Lord, just go with us now, and we'll be careful to give you all the praise. We ask it in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen. Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Item number 4, public input and unscheduled personal appearances. Does anyone have anything from a member of the public that they want to address on the agenda items? There being none, item number 5 is consent agenda.
Rudy, your mic's still open.
Item number 5 is consent agenda. The staff is recommending items 6 through 9 be placed on the consent agenda. Are there any items that any of the members would want to remove from that list or add to that list? If not, I would entertain a motion.
Motion approved.
A motion to approve items 6 through 9 has been made. Do I have a second, please?
I'll second, Mayor.
Okay. And roll call.
Weston,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
McLean,
Aye.
Charbit,
I'm going to abstain due to me missing I was gone the last couple of meetings.
Okay.
Based on 6 and 7.
Okay.
Schultz.
Aye. Item number 10, award of bid number C14-08 for tree trimming and tree removal services, and authorized chairman to sign contract with Right Tree Service. Tyler?
Yes, sir. Tonight I'm here before you for the award of the tree service with Right Tree Service. We put this item out for bid, having 2, 3, or 4 crews working in different areas of the city, and based on their unit prices, Right Crew was the lowest for the 4 crews. So we'd like to have the chairman authorize to sign a contract.
And this is a budgeted item?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And when will the work start?
The work will start the end of December into January. They'll start out with 1 or 2 crews and slowly get up to 4 crews.
Okay.
We currently have 50 to 60 work orders where people call in about trees on utility lines, different things like that. We'll have them trimming on those first, and then we'll start to the primaries and secondary lines.
And is this a different time of year than we normally do this?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we're going to be doing it in the winter, trying to get ahead of it.
Yes, sir.
Instead of the spring and summer. Okay. Any other questions for Tyler?
Motion to approve.
Second, please.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Charbit,
Aye.
Weston, McLean,
Aye.
Weston,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
Schultz.
Aye. Thank you. Item number
Thank
11,
you.
award of bid C1407 for 2 or 3 automated side loader trash trucks to Waste Research, Inc. Tyler?
Yes, sir. Tonight I'm here before you for the awarding of the bid C1407 for the 2 or 3 automated trash trucks. We have a PowerPoint prepared for tonight.
Sorry. Getting there.
We also put this out to bid at the same time, and we had actually 10 or 11 vendors, which will come up on a slide here before long, and we would like to go through them. Currently, we've talked about this before, but these are all the cities around here that are doing the automated side loader trucks. As you talk to other cities from going to different conferences, different things, everybody's really pleased. The other day I was in Veneta and saw them operating them, and I had my friends, I'm like, hey, turn down here, let's watch them. And we watched them do a block. I mean, it was amazing how fast they just go down the street.
And they're just using one person?
Yes,
correct?
sir. There's just one person. You actually set the steering wheel. You have a joystick right here, and you just watch the trash can. You have a screen. You can watch the screen and have them pick them up
Okay.
and dump them. These trucks that we bid out, they actually will have a DVR recorder on them, so we can be recording the route. So if there's ever any question about, oh, you missed my trash, or we didn't pick up your trash, then we can look back
Or
and
you
say,
get in my car?
yes, sir, you hit my car. So it's kind of a neat thing, an option that we had put on
Okay.
these trucks.
Great. Go ahead.
Also, the new with the automated trucks, they're going to have 2 axles versus the 1 axle that we see. You know, we're doing all this road improvements around, and our current track trucks weigh a lot. So the new ones are going to have 2 axles, so it'll be able to distribute the load a lot better on the streets. Something to look to as we get closer to actually getting the trucks is passing an ordinance as far as keeping people from parking on the street the day of pickup, or at least so many feet next to the container, because you don't want the truck to pull up there and be trying to go in and out by people's cars and not hit their car. Also, a lot of cities, they do away with the bags, or if they do a bag, you come to the city and purchase the bag for a certain price. If you think about it, you're going to automated trucks to speed up the process and to also safety issues. These trucks they set low to the ground, so you don't really have to worry about so much of getting in and out of the truck, hurting your knees, falling so much. And it's not real safe whenever you think you're going down through there a couple of blocks, you're picking up trash, and then all of a sudden you got to get out and pick up 2 or 3 bags. You get out and you may forget that there's traffic going the other direction. So it's another injury that you kind of eliminate.
So how would the bag work, though?
The bags would be, you could come, if we go that route, which a lot of cities that we've talked to, like Claremore, they suggested maybe doing another container or figuring something else like that, where we could set a certain fee for if you want to have another container to do that. The bags worked as, I think, like $1.50 for a city-issued container for a bag, and they somehow say City of Miami on them or have a sticker on them. They do them a bunch of different ways, and so you'd call sanitation and say, we have a bag at 525 G Northwest. They'd come
And
by
so
and
it's a
pick it up.
separate pickup then?
Yes, sir.
It's
It could
not
be.
with the
It could
truck,
be
it's-
issued that way too.
Okay. All right.
Chairman, may I ask a question about one of the slides? I noticed on the previous slide, you discussed, and I know that's not the first time it's been brought up, an ordinance to prevent parking along street or next to container the day of pickup. It's probably fair to say that there are residential neighborhoods in the city of Miami where on-street parking is not only prevalent, but some might say unavoidable. Have you anticipated any problems in those neighborhoods? Have you?
We've thought about that, and we've kind of tried to put our heads together to determine what neighborhoods we think those would be at, and that could be something we could look at where we could have, you could only park so many, have to be a certain distance away from the container.
But on those well, trash days, it's a lot of containers,
Yes, sir.
and I just wanted to raise the issue to the MSUA members, also in your capacity as council members, to be contemplating that there may be a necessity to be a little tough about parking requirements for this to be functional. And I want you to be as much as possible prepared for that, or to make sure your questions are answered in that regard. I'll leave it at that for now. Just wanted to raise that issue.
So Tyler, what is the recommended distance? Do you have anything from other cities? Or?
Not really, not as far as the distance. The truck that we want, it has a 12-foot reach, so we think that the extra reach will be able to allow them to get into some tighter places, but we haven't really looked into how close the containers could be. There's a thought too, and that we get into a different issue of having like a centralized location where people could bring their containers if they
Right.
could, and then 3 or 4 containers could be in one spot. Don't park right here, pick them up, and then disperse. So
Okay.
What about a separate container for recyclables? I had a citizen mention that in some areas they've been to.
Yes, sir. That is something that we would like to get into, possibly having we have blue containers, so we could possibly have a red container for recyclables if you want to participate in that program. And you could, if we got a huge participation, then we could run the city one day a week and just pick up the red containers for recyclables.
The other thing I thought we were looking at 2, not 3.
Well, we're gonna
Mhm.
before we vote, we're gonna talk about that too.
So our current operations, we have 3 trucks with 2 to 3 employees on them each. So for the residential routes, we'll be going to the 1 truck or to the 2 or 3 trucks with 1 person on them each. So you'll have less people on the truck, and we pick up approximately 6,000 containers a week. So if we go with 2 trucks, then we would have each truck will be picking up 3,000 containers a week.
Tyler, can we do how much in-house maintenance can we do on these trucks?
Quite a bit. We put it out so we have so many days of training, and I know that the dealership and also the body manufacturer, they've expressed that if we purchase these trucks, that there's schooling that we could go to and we actually become certified if we would like.
Do they have a lease option?
They do not, but we do have another route that we have looked at for leasing. So.
And that'll be part of the presentation later?
But later on, if we do, we would look at that if we do purchase the trucks, because we have approximately 4 months before the trucks will be ready if we do, so we could.
Okay.
Is the 6,000 containers all home, or is that commercial and home? The 6,000
I believe that's mostly residential.
residential.
We would like to next year come before you guys for possibly front loader trucks for our commercial routes, because if you think about the big 2-yard containers, I mean, it takes 3 guys to push them around, get them out. And so the automated trucks is you pull up with the front loaders, you pull up to them, you hook onto it, it lifts over the top. You have cameras where you just back straight up and then pull out and go. So it's a lot less labor intensive. Next slide, please. Operation with the new trucks, if we had 2 automated trucks, we'd be picking up, like I said, 750 containers a day. From talking to the city of Edmond, they do approximately 1,085 per day. So the 750 shouldn't be too difficult to reach once we get going good. And currently we do on Fridays, we drive around the city and pick up yard waste. If we get these new trucks, we'd like to maybe go towards you call in and say, I have yard waste at this address, instead of driving all over the city looking for yard waste.
Okay, so Tyler, can you go back just a second? So to do your math, you said there were 6,000 containers a week. And so if you're running 2 trucks and they're picking up 750 a day, that's 1,500 times 4 days is 6,000. So you can cover the 6,000 in 4 days
Yes,
based
sir.
on your math, right?
Yes, sir.
With 2 trucks. Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
This is all the bids that we had. Waste Research there at the bottom was the one that we liked the best. From talking to Kevin Horn, he called and actually talked to the sanitation department that picks up Tulsa New Way, and they have these trucks. They have 12 of these trucks, and they're very, very happy with them. Claremore has just recently purchased one of these trucks, and they're very happy with it from discussing with them. This dealer, for the body dealer, he has sold trash trucks to the city before. So.
Now, I'm sorry, go back again. What is Downing? Downing looks like the unit price was lower.
Yes, sir.
And so why are you recommending
We like
Waste
the
Research?
warranty and how the arm actually mounts onto the frame onto
Okay.
the Waste Research versus the Downing. By the way, the literature reads it mounts onto the body. So we feel that if the arm, if it's going out 3,000 times a week, that's a lot of pressure on the truck body. So if it's mounted on the frame, then it's the pressure.
Okay, so on the Waste Research, it is mounted to the frame.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, very important point while that's fresh on your mind, and the other trustees, please. If you approve a bid as recommended for Waste Research, it's not the low bid in terms of raw dollars. My recommendation to you, which I think is very, very important, and I have a legal duty to inform you, is that if you do not accept the low bid, it's important that in your motion to approve a bid, you describe why you're not going with the low bid. Okay? And that may require going back to Tyler and asking him again, now, why was it? Because that would need to be included in a motion. Thank you.
Thank you.
What's
So
the
these are not the same style, if you will. The trucks have different characteristics on
Yes,
them.
sir. Yes, sir. They from reading the literature, The way the arm would mount on the Downing truck was, I believe that it would be the truck would be a little bit longer because when it's mounted on the body versus if it's mounted underneath on the frame, they had to extend out the body a little bit to mount it. I'm trying to think what else there was, and we've been really happy with the service that we've had with Race Research from the rear loader trash trucks that we have right now.
So they're our current vendor.
Yes,
most
sir.
recent vendor. Okay.
What's the payback on a CNG?
On the next slide, we talk about that. For the diesel cost, like I said, it's $251,000. You see the exhaust after all the warranties that the truck would come with. And then on the next slide, we talk about CNG. So you can see that there's considerable difference between the diesel and the CNG. The engine warranty is less for the CNG. It's 2 years. To extend it to 5 years, it's be a little bit around $6,000. I think it should be a hair bit less. But as far as the exhaust after treatment, it's 5 years, and the sensors were 5 years. I mean, we only have one fueling station in Miami too, so that might be somewhat of a concern if it ever went down. We would have to figure out another.
I think that the Pelivan people, I know when they made their presentation, they were talking about putting in a CNG station somewhere. I mean, I don't know where they are in that conversation, but I think it would be worth a phone call to check with them, Tyler.
Okay.
Or someone to follow up. So does your next slide have a payback then on the CNG versus?
No, we don't really have a payback as far as just from talking to the other dealers around. And there's actually a Mack dealer here. They were not too high on the CNG just because it is somewhat of a new technology, and we are talking about very large trucks. So I guess that the years of training and the years of trying and what worked and what hasn't worked is not there.
Do you know if Edmond or any of those communities are using CNG?
I believe some of them are, but I do not believe that all of them are. From talking to them, a lot of them were diesel.
I'll have to check on that.
Go back just to see the price per gallon difference. $1.23 compared to
About 3 probably.
$3.65. So you got $2.40 a gallon, and you're about a $50,000 difference when you add on the warranty. If I remember correctly, the difference in the CNG was 40-something thousand add-on and $6,000 for the additional extended warranty. So let's just say $50,000 in round numbers, and you know, if you're at $2.50, it doesn't take too many thousand gallons to pay that back, assuming all else is equal. And you're saying
Yes, sir.
that the Mack dealer's not necessarily telling you that. In fact, they're saying that they don't feel like it is. But I think it'd be interesting to talk to some of those other communities that do have CNG also.
Mayor, I think we have somebody.
Yes, sir.
else.
If you would like, he could talk to you a little bit.
Sure.
I'm a little shy, forgive me. My name's Kenny Smith, I'm with Mack.
Hey, Kenny.
We sell both CNG and diesel.
Okay.
So, kind of what I'm gonna talk about is the experience with both. And it's a little bit misleading, the $1.23 per gallon. When you get into heavy trucks, it takes 4 times as much CNG to do the same work that diesel does. It's a matter of BTUs.
Okay.
So while it's $1.23, you're going to use 4 times as much in the bigger trucks. In cars and pickups, it kind of makes sense. The technology is not really new. It's been around a long, long time, but diesel has been so efficient that it hadn't really grabbed hold of the United States. CNG hadn't. New study just came out. Methane's 21 times more harmful to the atmosphere than diesel emissions. And what they don't take into account yet on diesel on emissions is CNG puts out formaldehyde and other gases that aren't listed on our current emissions table. Also, infrastructure, you talked about a filling station. The big trucks, there's 2 types of fill stations. There's a slow fill and a fast fill. The fast fill's 2 to 3 times more expensive than a slow fill. If you get a slow fill, come the next morning when you go to work, you might only have, let's say you had a 100-gallon CNG tank. You might only have gotten 50 gallons into that tank overnight. So you really need to go to the fast fill. Tulsa Public Schools, for example, found this out kind of the hard way. They had gone to CNG TPS, and the problem with CNG is they run a lot hotter, and they were breaking down quite often. So TPS got away from it course, you had a new political push to get back into it, and so they did. And if it sounds like I'm for diesel, yes, because I do believe we're in a waste of money stage with CNG, to be frank. Give you an example, infrastructure, going back to that. If your guys are going to work on it at all, then by federal standards, they have to have a blast-proof bay, along with all the training that the operators have to have, et cetera. So there's things to think about, you know, other than just fueling them and the cost per mile. Obviously, liability, you know, gasoline is also explosive, but you're talking about a compressed gas. So in an accident, there would be some liability to the city. Let's see, parts, that's another thing. Because CNG is not as widely available as diesel, your parts resources are limited somewhat. It doesn't really matter who you buy it from. It would have the same outcome. That's about all the notes I really made. Of course, there's a lot more to think about there, but from an infrastructure standpoint to an operating standpoint, there are some grants, or were, for $15,000 and things of that nature. But as you just said, you know, $50,000 more for the truck. The fuel savings are not what it would appear, you know, when you first start to do the math. And those scientific formulas are out there, so you're not just taking it from me.
So in my simple example, I was assuming the same miles per gallon, for
Right.
example, and you're saying that's not
No, sir.
going to happen. Not even
and-
close.
Are you saying it's 4 gallons to 1 gallon diesel?
4 times as much to a diesel equivalent gallon, yes. Now, I've talked to some cities that have converted CNG, and it's not quite that dramatic, but they're not seeing the gains that they had hoped to see. But I couldn't get the square answer out of them as to what that was. Again, I sell both.
What percentage do you sell the CNG versus diesel?
I would say less than 5%. There was a good rush after 2008. You know, with diesel fuel kind of going a little
Right.
crazy, a good rush. That has really tapered off and calmed down. And one of the reasons, I think, even though diesel seems to be up a bit, it's kind of stabilized. U.S. oil production's higher than it's ever been, and it is expected to continue on that route.
Tyler, is the fuel station that we have locally a slow or fast, or do we know?
That I don't know. We were trying to check into that, and we haven't been
Okay.
able to get an
Well,
answer to
I'd
that.
like to know the answer to that also,
Because we've
please.
seen, like today, we were out there and we saw a truck filling up, but I've never seen a big Mack truck or international truck filling up.
What's the closest shop that can work on CNG?
Oh, as far as that, I mean, it'd be also.
Maybe you have to have vented roofs and everything to
Right,
pull the
it's
fumes
an
out.
expensive endeavor, yes.
Why is the warranty period shorter?
I'm sorry.
Why is the warranty period shorter on the engines?
Warranties, especially extended, especially extended warranties, are actually put on by insurance companies with the OEMs. So if it's only 2 years, and they're, you know, that by the time the trucks get in, there may be extendeds available, blah blah blah. Well, there is now, but I think up to this year there wasn't. But having said that, it's all about risk, breakdowns, and the cost of repairs, and so that's why they're cut at
It's
2
just
years.
a higher failure rate, so they.
Yes, sir.
2 years. Okay.
Anything else?
I think that's all for now. Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, may I ask a question? Sir,
For-
please. David Anderson, City Attorney, just a question.
Uh-oh.
And I haven't cleared the question in advance, but do you make more money typically on a diesel or a CNG?
No, sir.
Okay.
Not a penny, in fact. And there's no push to sell one above the other. Been in diesel trucks almost 20 years
Thank you.
in one form or another, and I'm just, stating what I see out there.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, Tyler, go ahead.
Next slide, please. We kind of did the 2 trucks versus 3 trucks. I know we kind of went to the 2 trucks, but we were just kind of running the numbers for ourselves, and it kind of came back a little bit different than we even thought. If you rotate them daily, if you do the 3 trucks, From talking to the body manufacturer and the truck manufacturer, we came up with an expected life expectancy of 8 to 9 years, with a salvage value of $65,000. If you go to the next slide, if you do the two trucks, then you see that they'll last 6 to 7 years with a salvage value of $80,000. If you go to the next slide, you can see that for the life cycle cost analysis, if you have 3 trucks that last 9 years, they cost approximately $32 to $34.09 an hour to operate, and this includes ownership costs, depreciation, interest, the salvage value, the vehicles at the end of the vehicle's life, and also the insurance. This also includes maintenance, but we've never had these trucks, so the maintenance value is kind of an estimated value, and also the service and repairs. So we kind of just had to estimate that number. If you go to the next slide, the 2 trucks lasting 7 years cost approximately $29 to $31.09 an hour. So it's actually cheaper to run the 2 trucks than it is the 3 trucks, but we kind of thought that it would be cheaper to run the 3, but based on the just a little bit of difference that you would get in years, the 2 trucks appear to be cheaper to run. And our thought was, after finding this, is that we thought, well, maybe next year we could come back and look at purchasing 2 front loader trucks for our commercial routes, and having one of the commercial trucks, they have there's different dealers, different manufacturers for this front, but they're called a Corrado can, so it actually snaps into the front loader, so they'd actually be our backup for our residential route, so it could go down and pick up the residential cans, and then it picks them up, dumps them in the front container, so it picks up 15 or 20 cans and then dumps it and sets it back down, and you go back down. So it'd be a very good backup. So we have a backup for the commercial and a backup for the residential. So we have two residential trucks and 2 commercial trucks.
Has anyone looked at the numbers? Are we going to be saving money on this, or is it going to fit into our budget?
Yeah, so we believe we're going to be saving money because we're going from 3 guys on a truck to 1 guy on a truck. So we could use these guys in other areas in the public works pool, and train them to do other things. And this is going to be a slow transition, so we have the actual where we chip the wood, sell firewood, different things like that, so we could become more into that endeavor.
What do we do with our existing equipment once we get new ones in?
We're gonna keep some of the old trucks as backups, so whenever one of them breaks down, it could get worked on, and then sell off a couple of them.
I think in particular, Joe, when you asked them to do the analysis of 2 trucks, we realized we're going to have to keep at least 1 or 2 trucks of the old ones in service for if something does break down.
Because we'll still be running our commercial routes with the rear loader trucks until hopefully next year we could look at going to the front loaders.
Okay.
So like this slide just talks about how I told you guys about going to the 2 front loader trucks for next year. And this
Back
is
up, two side loaders and 1 front loader.
2 side loaders and then 2 front loaders for next year. And then on the next slide, it shows one of the front loaders being outfitted with the Corrado can. So you can see the yellow there. It actually comes out. That's where the arm is. So it comes out and picks up the
Could you go
container
back
and
one more
dumps it.
slide again? I'm not trying to be argumentative, but it says 1 front loader and 2 side loaders. And on the first line, it says purchase 1 front loader.
Yes, sir. I was just showing different options. So for next year, we could either purchase 1 front loader, or if we purchase 2 side loader trucks, then we could purchase 2 front loaders next year.
Okay. Yeah. And everything we're talking about is out of next year's fiscal budget.
Yes, sir. Well, the 2 trucks for the 2 or 3 trucks for this year would be out of this.
It would be ordered and take about 4 months to get in, so it'd be a couple of months of however we finance
Yes, sir.
them, the payments would be, okay.
So, and there's our different options.
And you're wanting action on this tonight so you can order them, is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so all the questions that we talked about CNG aren't particularly relevant if we're going to make a decision tonight.
Can we do some more checking in the CNG?
You'd be within the commonly accepted, 30 days from bid opening to contract award. How it would affect the offers or the timelines, I don't know, sir.
Randy, how would it affect those? If we deferred any decision until December 17th meeting, for example?
Yeah, well, usually you have a 48-hour time span for other people to challenge it, but as long as the person that's winning the bid doesn't mind waiting 30 days, there's no problem, you can wait.
You said 48-hour?
Yeah, normally if we award a bid, we
Okay.
48 hours before we actually do the paperwork to give it to them.
Because there's a contest period where the other bidders, having been notified that they didn't win, can dispute anything they want about the process.
But they haven't been, there's been no notification on that, correct?
No, sir, but that time period wouldn't start until you vote and make an award.
And are you saying then that would put, those 40 hours would put us outside of the 30-day period, Randy, or are you just making an observation about
Just
48-hour period? Okay.
that after we award it, they don't actually get it for 48 hours, but you don't have to award it tonight. You can award it next meeting if you'd like. I mean,
Wait.
we have to bring it to you tonight because that's the way it read in the bid contract.
Okay. And so let's clarify what questions it is that we have for Tyler, what additional information we're seeking. We're trying to get a little better grasp on whatever that ratio is of CNG to diesel. We've heard 4-to-1. We've heard that some of the cities say, well, it's not really 4-to-1, but they won't necessarily give you a firm number. We want some way to come up with a better way to quantify that so we can do the math on the difference in cost. Seemed like there was another CNG.
I would like to know, or I'd like us to know, whoever has them, working with them, get some, like if Edmond has some CNG or some other city, get their feelings on it.
Okay.
I think we also needed to know about the filling station.
If the local station is a fast or slow fill.
And the maintenance, I think the maintenance is gonna be the biggest obstacle.
How about the cost of the extended warranty on CNG?
Yeah, I mean, to me, the $6,000, if you decide to go to CNG, if the economics make sense, then the $6,000 probably makes sense, but it certainly needs to be part of the calculation. But I guess David's point is, include that $6,000 in, because
Okay.
we need to be looking at an apples-to-apples comparison on the 5 years. And then certainly, I think that the maintenance and whatever sort of facility, if we are going to do it ourselves, whatever, besides the training, whatever sort of facility we would have to have, needs to be taken into account. And if we decide not to have a facility of our own, then we have to understand that, and I guess if you'd step back up and just address this part of the question, if we have a truck go down today on Tuesday, how long, what's the turnaround time? And just a normal maintenance issue, something not replacing a motor, but
It could be as simple as getting it to Tulsa, fixing it in a matter of a couple of hours and driving
Okay.
it back. It really varies, some diagnostic time, 3-4 hours, and then, maybe you have to order a part, so now you're getting into a day or two, 2 or 3 days, with that kind of scenario. But that would also be true with diesel as well.
Right.
Whether it's in warranty or out of warranty.
and if the vehicle's not running, how do we get it there?
Usually that's by a tow truck.
Okay.
Now, while it's under warranty, and as long as it's a warrantable failure, you have towing with that, I do believe.
Okay.
You have subunits,
Subunits?
like if it goes
Oh,
down
no,
under
sir.
warranty, you supply a subunit.
No, sir. With the cost of these trucks, it's not something we can do practical. I don't know if maybe the body company does that kind of thing. I just, with front loaders, even rear loaders for that matter, I don't know of many, if any, that do that.
Okay.
On the maintenance side of things, there might be value in looking at the common maintenance issues with the CNG trucks and what the costs are for those in comparison to the diesel trucks, being that it's a different technology. the maintenance repairs might run higher just in and of themselves.
Okay, we'll check into that too.
And diesel service is readily available. Well, I know it's certainly in or near Joplin. I don't know how
Yes, sir. We work on a lot of our big trucks in-house, so.
ourselves. Okay.
We've actually built a couple motors over the last couple years.
Okay. And just, and it sounds like there's probably going to be a motion to table this, but just so we'll know, does staff have a recommendation?
No, not at the, I mean, from running the numbers, we would be happy with 2 trucks, but as far as CNG versus diesel, we do not have a number.
Okay.
Mr. Chairman, you say happy with 2 trucks, but given that they don't have loaners or subunits, was that
3.
part of the request for 3, so you would have a
Yes, sir, so we could have
maintenance
a truck.
rotation?
But that's why we came up with the idea, well, in the first year, hopefully we wouldn't have any problems, but next year we could look at doing the 2 front loaders, and then we'll have one of the front loader with the Corrado can option.
And are the containers different? The trash containers?
For, yes, that would be something we'd have to either retrofit our current 2-yard containers or look at the city purchase them instead of having the owner purchase them. We can retrofit them from talking to the front loader companies.
So we just bought a lot of new containers in the last couple of years.
But we also did the numbers on 750, and is the average 1,080 a day on pickups on the containers?
On our pickups would be $750 per truck.
But what was 1,080?
That was
Edmund, that's what Edmund
Yes,
was
sir.
doing a day, 1,085.
75% of what they're doing.
And I think there'll be a learning curve. I think we can probably get to that. And if you've driven down an Edmund Street compared to Avenue H Northwest, I think they can get down their streets a lot quicker.
The current poly carts we have, they are for the automated trucks.
Okay.
It's the commercial dumpsters.
Dumpster.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that, yeah.
I also would like to recommend that there be a little further inquiry into, narrow streets with on-street parking and what kind of ordinance might be
Yeah.
really sort of a commitment if you go this route with these trucks.
I agree. That's a concern.
Yeah, I don't think Edmund has the same issue that we're gonna have, as we just described some of our streets. Where there's some towns that are using this technology that have narrower streets that we can look to for model ordinances or
Yes,
how
sir,
they
we
might
can-
have solved that problem.
We can look at some in the area and come up with some.
So it sounds like you have a lot of work in the next 2 weeks, Tyler.
Yes, sir.
Anything else? Is there any more slides?
Smile.
Yes. Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. So wait, do we, Mr. City Attorney, do we need a motion to table or just no action or whatever? If we take no action, it doesn't automatically come up, but
No, sir.
we need to take action. It's not required, but
2 very simple responses. One would, of course, be a motion to table, at which point it would automatically come up on the next agenda, exactly the way it's phrased on this agenda. Okay, if you move to table, it comes up exactly the same way. On the other hand, if you simply ask for example, Mr. Chairman, if you were to say, do we have a motion, and you had no motion, you'd simply move on to the next agenda item. Although staff could, of course, reframe the question and put it on the next agenda if that were your intent as chairman or any member of the trust.
I'd like to see it worded different.
I was gonna say the language is fairly generic, but if we just let it die for lack of a motion, then it can come back in any form that staff or we think it needs to. Okay, so then I'm gonna ask if there's a motion. There being none, we're gonna move to item 12. It looks like me and Tyler again.
Yes, sir.
Authorize chairman to sign change order number 1 for bid number C13-22 with Nice Concrete Construction for deletion of asphalt, prime coat, and tack oil, in addition of concrete grading and dirt work for G Street Northeast from 4th to 6th.
Yes, sir. On 4th to 6th, it is a concrete street. And then right there, if you turn off of Brookside, there's a little patch there we were going to do an asphalt. We bid it out unit prices for all this work. From talking to Mr. Neese, he came up with the idea, hey, because it's later in the year, I can do it cheaper to do it concrete than I can to have it done in asphalt. And so that's why we're bringing that up to the board. The second thing is that if you've been out there, the street's lowered quite a bit. There's an apartment complex right there, and Chuck can attest to this. He has a video of it. All the water that used to run down a ditch and then through the middle of the apartment complex. We had to end up we lowered the street so the water wouldn't run through the apartment complex anymore. It would actually run down the street and then turn and then go into the ditch. So from lowering this and then going out there and looking at people's yards, there's a few yards that the contractor needs to go back a little farther in their yard to adjust the slope so they can mow it better. So from talking to him, he came up with the price to do this extra work. So that's why we were coming before you.
And so this is a change order,
Yes, sir.
and the amount was 3,000 and some change, is that correct? It's not listed on the agenda item.
$31.35.
$3,000 more.
Okay. 3,135.
You can see the slide there. That's the area that was going to be asphalt, and it's going to be concrete.
Well, I think the homeowners in that area would certainly appreciate it.
Yeah, you
I know
think?
I'd prefer,
Yeah. I'd like to ask our city attorney if he has any problems with it.
No, sir.
Okay.
Just a standard change order, and probably a good value. I mean, it's a few dollars more, but we're getting
Yes,
much
sir.
better
And the
product.
homeowners are going to be very happy because we actually met with the owner of the apartment complex today on site and told him if we're going in front of the council for the change order, but this is what we're going to do if it's approved, and he was super excited about. He even talked about it's improving his property value, so, and the water's not going to run through it anymore, so he was super excited about that.
It's surprising sometimes, and I'm learning, just as an attorney looking at bids and documents, how sometimes concrete with its vastly greater lifespan can become economical.
Okay, do we have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Okay,
Second?
roll call, please.
Sharbutt,
Aye.
Weston,
Aye.
Johnson,
Aye.
McLean,
Aye.
Schultz.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Tyler. Item 13, other new business, if any, which has arisen since the posting of the agenda. Any new business? Item 14, trustee and community announcements. Do we have any announcements? Neil?
I'll wait till the council meeting.
Okay. Item 15, staff reports. Your written reports included in the packet. Staff is present if you have any questions. There being none, item 16, do we have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn, Mr. Mayor.
And a second, please.
Second.
Roll call.
Johnson,
Aye.
McLean,
Aye.
Sharbutt,
Aye.
Weston,
Aye.
Schultz.
Aye. Okay, thank you. We are going to move right into the city council meeting. And find it, we're going to call to order this meeting, regular meeting and agenda of the Miami City Council, Tuesday, December 3rd, 2013 is immediately following the SUA meeting. And this was posted at 9:45 p.m. December 2nd, 2013. Item number 2 on the agenda is public input and unscheduled personal appearances. Is there anyone in the audience that wants to address the council about any of the agenda items? There being none, item 3 is a consent agenda. Staff is recommending items 4 through 8. Are there any items that any of you would like to see added or removed to the consent agenda?
Mayor, if there's no objection, I'd make a motion to approve items 4 through 8 into the consent agenda.
And a second, please.
I'll second.
Roll call.
Johnson,
Aye.
McLean,
Aye.
Sharbutt,
Abstain.
Weston,
Aye.
Schultz.
Aye. Item number 9 is going to be tabled until the next meeting.
Do we
I
need-
guess we need a motion.
If you're tabling, yes, sir. But what I would recommend, respectfully as an alternative, would simply be to ask if there's a motion, not have a motion, because what you will see is a recommendation from me to place the matter for discussion in executive session,
Okay, so
followed
we'll
by
just-
an action
no
item.
action.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, David, for clarifying that. Item number 10, approve Darcy Schultz's employment contract. Hi, Darcy. Welcome back to Miami. Darcy is a hometown girl. Most of her family lives here, and she's gone away to school, some very impressive schools, and now she's moving back to Miami, and we have a need for an interim manager for the Coleman Theater, and our theater executive director, the city manager, not theater, the MDRA.
Trust manager.
Trust
Yes, sir.
manager, thank you, David. Met with Darcy last week, and they discussed a tentative employment contract, which Darcy was provided just a little bit before the meeting. This is kind of a rush thing. She just moved back a weekend ago, and Jeff met with her just before he left town for vacation. So I know that you all have had a brief period of time to review the contract, not as much time as we would typically like, but this is the busy time for the Coleman, and so Jeff has asked us to please consider going ahead and approving the contract tonight. Darcy will review it, and if she has no objections, she'll sign it. And after going through the other normal employment, jumping through those hoops, hopefully she'll start soon because it's going to be real busy at the Coleman in December. So, having said that, do we have any questions? If not, I would entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the contract. Do we need a stipulation in there, Jim? Okay. I move to approve Darcy Schultz employment contract contingent upon passage of pre-employment physical and background checks.
Which are those hoops I talked about. Do we have a second, please?
Second.
Roll call.
Johnson,
Aye.
Sharbit,
Aye.
Weston,
Aye.
McLean,
Aye.
Schultz.
Aye. Darcy, welcome back to Miami. We're glad you're here. Item number 11, other new business, if any, which has arisen since the posting of the agenda and could not have been anticipated prior to the time of posting. There being none, item 12, staff reports. Written reports, if available, are in your packet, and staff is available for questions.
Ronnie.
Ronnie, yes, please.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I just want to give a gratitude to several entities on Saturday's fire at Nichols School. I don't know if you're aware of it, but whoever called the fire in, it's about 3:30 now. It was in the afternoon. Anyway, I just want to thank that individual. I don't know who it was. Also, the rapid response from our firefighters. And also our utilities were always there, and Baptist Regionals always staff us with a paramedic and ambulance service on all the structured fires. So I just want to give public thanks to them, and also to our police department for an outstanding job that they did on their investigation and apprehension of a couple possible suspects. So we want to thank them for what they do. They did an awesome job for us. Without that, we wouldn't, we wouldn't have a couple people that we're going to, be looking at.
Ronnie, what was the extent of the damage?
We kept it limited. It was superficial for the most part, but probably 2 or 3 minutes time, it could have been up in the attic, and it would have gave us a lot of problems and done extensive.
So the
structural
phone call
damage.
was really, the timely
Yes, and a
phone
quick
call was
response
critical.
because firefighters were on it within less than a minute. So it
Awesome.
limited the damage, and we're just very thankful for that. And also we had a structure fire today, and the police officers were there and gave us assistance. Paramedics were there. The utility crew were there and cut down electric for us, so keep everybody safe and everything. So my hat's off to you and all the city employees for that fact. I just want to appreciate them all. So thank you.
Thank you, Ronnie.
Thank you, Ronnie.
Any other staff reports? Item 13, Mayor and Council community announcements and signing of approved documents. Neil.
Yes, sir. Thank you. We have a couple of postponed events. One is the Christmas parade this Saturday is rescheduled for the 14th at 4 p.m. The Pancake and Business Expo is postponed till 12/14 also. That's from 7 to 1.
So for any of you that haven't heard yet, we have some really bad weather on its way. It's supposed to arrive on Thursday, and we're trying to anticipate that and make sure that we do our part to keep everyone safe. And so, as is the Rotary Club in postponing their Pancake Day, and hopefully the 14th everything will kick back off and everybody will be safe. Any other comments? There being none, item 14 is adjournment. Do we have a motion to adjourn, Neil?
Yes, sir. Motion to adjourn.
Second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Johnson,
Aye.
Sharbit,
Aye.
Weston,
Aye.
McLean,
Aye.
Schultz.
Aye.